Daf Pei Beis Amud Aleph, 2 lines from the top. Gufa Amar Yeshua ben Levi Kol Makam Sha'amar Rav Yehuda Eimase Ubameh. Whenever Rav Yehuda says Eimase, if he says when or what, B'Mishnah Seinu in our Mishnah, Lafarish Divrei Chachamim. It's not arguing. When he uses that lashon, he's explaining the Divrei Chachamim. Rav Yechon and Amar Rav Yechon argues, says Eimasai Lefarish. When it's Eimasai, it's Take, it means to explain it. But Ubameh Lachlik. When he says Bameh, it means he's arguing. Correct the Gemara, Eimasai Lefarishu. Is it true that when he says Eimasai, it means an explanation? But we learned in the following Mishnah, Hamasachi Bekuvia. The Mishnah is talking about those people who are apostle ages. That a person who is not trustworthy, he's Oiver Yisurim, he's a Rosh of the Chamas, he will be Oiver Yisurim in order to make or save money. He's disqualified, he's apostle ages. So here's a list of some of the people who are apostle. Hamasach Bekubia, person who gambles, he plays with dice. Umal v'beribis, he lends money with ribis. He's over the Yisr HaTorah of lending money with ribis. So he wants money. In order to gain money, he is willing to be over in Yisr and the Torah. Umafricha yonim, it's also a type of gambling. He does races or causes birds, the doves, to fly. So it's very similar to the case of the Machzachik Bekuvia. And he does business with the produce of Shvius, even though he's over the Yisr of the Torah, he's willing to do it in order to profit from the pairs of Shvius. And Amar Rav Yehuda said, when do we say the Masachik Bekuvia is possible? Where is that possible? But if he has a different profession, he says there's a basic difference, there's a fundamental difference between the case of gambling and other cases. The other cases, he's Iver and Isser to profit, to make money. Over here, Rabbi Yehuda says that he's not being Iver and Isser, he's just not being Isaac b'yeshuva shaloylam. He is not a responsible and upstanding citizen. He is a gambler. So therefore, we choshesh that he will not follow the customs and norms and the proper behavior, and therefore he's choshed, and we say that he's not kosher la'edus. But he hasn't been over in Isser per se, Zok Rav Yehuda. So therefore, it's only if he has no other profession. But if he does that as a sideline, he's not possible. But Tanya Lava Bryce, and we learned on this on Bryce, they argue, and we say Ben She'eloi Umnas Elahi U Ben She'yeshlo Umnas Shalohi Arez Apostle. The Chacham argue, and they say it makes no difference. They say even if he has another profession, they argue, and he say he's apostle. So you see that even though Rav Yehuda says that Amar Rav Yehuda Eimasai, he says, when is this so? We don't treat it as a qualification, as an explanation. We see that he's arguing. Gemara says, no. That is the Brisa that says that the Chacham argue over there. That is not the Shita of the Chachamim in the Mishnah that says, the Tanakam in the Mishnah that says, that it says this is another shita. This shita of the Chachamim over here in the Brisa is Rav Yehuda in the name of Rav Tarfon. Now, what's underlying the machlekes and if Masachik Bekuvia is possible or not? The way we explain Rav Yehuda is he's not being Oiver and Isser in the Torah. He is just not being Oiseg b'yeshuva shaloylam. However, Rav Yehuda says in the Rav Tarfon, going with the Shita of Rav Tarfon, that no, this is not simply that he's not Eisem Yeshua Shaloylam, he's a Ganav. He's stealing. Why is he stealing? As we'll see the following. The Sanya, we learn in the Brisa, Amr Yehuda Mishum Tarfon, La'olam ein echa mehem nazir, Lafi shala'ein nizir, nizir zeh. The case is talking that two people were sitting together, a man was passing in front of them, and one said, I will be a Nazir, I'll make myself Nazir if this person is a Nazir. And the other one said, I'd be makabel on myself Nazirus if he's not a Nazir. So now, even though inevitably one would think that one should be a Nazir because he was inevitably a Nazir or he wasn't a Nazir, the man that passed in front of them, either he was a Nazir or wasn't a Nazir. So you would say that, well, the one that said, I'm a Nazir if he is a Nazir, should be a Nazir. And the one that says, I'll be a Nazir if he's not a Nazir, then he should be a Nazir. And that's the way the Chachamim hold it. But Rabbi Tarfon says, neither of them are a Nazir. Lefi she'ein Naziris el laflo. So he says, neither of them can be a Nazir because a Kabbalist Nazir has to be clear, unequivocal. So he says, Lo olam ein echad Nazir, neither of them is a Nazir. Lefi she'ein Naziris el laflo. Here, nobody knows, neither one of them know at the time that they make the Kabbalah if they're going to be a Nazir or not. It has to be a clear, unequivocal acceptance, unconditional, yes, I'm the Kabbalah myself in the Naziris. Now here, neither of them know the status of the person that's walking in front of them. So therefore, there's no haflah. The pasuk by Nazir says, Ish kiyafli lindar neder l'hazer nazir l'Hashem. There has to be a haflah. So therefore, since he doesn't know for sure, he's not certain if he's a Nazir or not, if he's going to become a Nazir or not, he's loy mishaveh nafshe. He doesn't obligate himself. So we see the principle that Rabbi Tarfon says that if a person is unsure, it's not a genuine obligation. Here also, when there's gambling, so a person who gambles, he rolls the dice. So he thinks that he makes a wager. He makes a bet. He says that I'll pay a certain amount of money if the outcome is X, if the number is 7, if the number is 8. He gambles and says, I'll pay you a certain amount of money if my bird, my Yena, loses. If my bird wins, you pay me the money. Now, neither of them know what the outcome will be. They're all anticipating, hoping, and guessing that their Yena will be the one that wins, that their number will be the lucky number, but nobody knows for sure. So therefore, when they obligate themselves, it's not a genuine obligation. It's not a real commitment. When the winner takes the proceeds, he's really considered to be a ganav. He's taking money that doesn't really belong to him, that wasn't committed to him. And therefore, we consider him to be a ganav. So therefore, it makes no difference if he's Isaac b'Yeshuva Shaloilam or not, he's considered to be a ganav. And he's also leidos. That's the shita of Rav Tarfon. But in the Mishnah, when it says that the psul is those who masach b'kuvia, over there, it's not going with that shita. It's not going with the shita that the ganovim. The person obligated himself to pay if he loses, so the winner who accepts it is not considered to be a ganov. He's posel eidos because he's not Isaac b'Yeshuva Shaloilam. So Rabbi Yehuda is qualifying it. It's not a machlokes in the Mishnah. He's explaining it. Where do we say Masach b'Kuvia is posel if there's ein lo umnas elahu? If that's all he's engaged in, then he's ein Isaac b'Yeshuva Shaloilam. But otherwise, he is kosher because it's not considered gneva as opposed to the shita of Tarfon. Chadran la chaloin, chadran la chaloin, chadran la chaloin. Zok the Mishnah, Ketzad mishtatfim betchumim. How do we make the Eruv Tchumim? When a person wants to make an Eruv, so he wants to be able to make his Shabbos Shisa in a certain place that he can go Alpayim Mama in each direction from that place, how is it done? He does it in a way that he places the chavis, he places the barrel of food. Taisa says that chavis in those days, their food, not only their wine, not only their liquids, generally they store things in a barrel. So when it says the chavis, it doesn't refer necessarily to wine, it's whatever it's in there, the fruit, the food, etc. So he takes the chavis of the food and he puts it on the site where they want to be kind of shvisa, and he says, this should be all the people of the town. Now, of course, how do you make the tchumim? Person makes out a tchum. But the question is over here that the Mishnah is addressing is how do we make a tchum that it should be practical, accessible, and easy for the multitude of people. so that each person doesn't have to do it on himself. So of course you make the tchum by putting down the food where you want to be kohen shvisa. But the question of the Mishnah is, how are cases mishtatzim in a way that he can do it for others? So he takes the food, and he said this should be for all the people of the town. It should be for whoever goes to a Beis Ha'ovel or to a Chasen Suda. If a person accepted it, he was agreed that he was makabel on it, and before it's Shabbos, so then he was makabel this Erev, he accepted the Shpias Tchum. If it's done before Shabbos, then it's mutter, that's considered as Makom Shvisa, he has Alpai Mama from that place. But if he only did it Mishatachshach, then it's Aser. It was not kind of Shvisa on the onset of Shabbos. That is not his Makom Shvisa, so he does not have Alpai Mama from that Tchum. She'ein ma'arvim Mishatachshach. He cannot make an Erev after Shabbos. The Erev has to be from before Shabbos. Zog the Gemara, Omer of Yosef, in ma'arv meladvar mitzvah. An Erev Tchumim can only be made if it's for the purpose of a mitzvah. That's the only reason, the only motive that we can have for the Erev. Ma'ika Mashal, in fact, the more Ma'ika Mashal Tanina, what's a Chiddush? What is Rav Yosef being Machadish here? Don't we see it clearly from the Mishnah? Because the Mishnah says that you make the Erev and it's Mizakeh for the people in the town. He says it should be it should be for anyone who's going to Beis Ha'ovel, Beis Hamishta. Those are Dvar Mitzvah. Isn't the Tana telling us clearly that you're Ma'arev the Dvar Mitzvah? Or it says no, Lav Davka Ma'ud, the same Ketani. You might think that it's not saying that it has to be done for this type of a purpose. You might think that this is just the common occurrence. Why does a person want a tchum? Why does he want to go out from the tchum of his regular city? Because he has to go for a Dvar Mitzvah, but not that it's a prerequisite. Kamash Malan, that it is a prerequisite, it has to be done L'Dvar Mitzvah. So the Mishnah says, if it was accepted while there was still day before Shabbos, then it's mutter. But otherwise, it's also Shema Mina Ein Breira. Can we learn out from here? Should we say from here that Ein Breira? That we should learn out the Ein Breira, that his acceptance has to be done before Shabbos. Now, if we would say hold a breira, why wouldn't we say that when he's informed and he chooses to accept it tomorrow, that was his acceptance mibayjayim? Even though the acceptance has to be mibayjayim, but why does he have to accept it before Shabbos? Why can't we say, well, then if he accepted it on Shabbos, over that he was always intended to accept it, that in his Levi he accepted it before Shabbos? Should we learn out from here that Ein Breira, as the Taisus explains, it's in terms of a kasha, because it's not mistaber to say that Tchumim Amilsa D'Rabbanan, we would say Ein Breira. However, should we infer that by Tchumim we don't hold a Breira? So Shamina in Breira, the Yesh Breira, Tigla Milsalam Afreya, the Mivai Joim Havanichale. Why should we say that retroactively we would say that it was acceptable to him even by Joim? Omar Ravashi, no, you cannot infer that from here, because what we mean to say is that if he was informed of the Erev Mibayit Shabbos, or if he was informed after Shabbos. Really, I'll tell you that he doesn't have to have the acceptance of it from before Shabbos, but he has to be informed of it. If he's informed about the Tchum, then I would say that even if he accepts it after the onset of Shabbos, then I would say Huver Daral Mafreya, that's what he had in mind to begin with. But if he wasn't informed of the Erev, you can't say Hugel Milsel Mafreya, and that he always had that in mind because he didn't even know about it. So that's what the Mishnah means. Maybe I'll tell you, really, you will say that Yesh Breira in this case. Why does he have to? What do we mean to say he has to have done Mibayid Yom? He has to know of the existence of the Tchum Mibayid Yom. Then, even if he accepts on Shabbos, we can say Hugla Milsa Lamafreya retroactively that he accepted it before Shabbos. But if he didn't even know about it, We can't say that he accepted it. Omar Ravasi, Katan ben Sheish Yetze Eruvin. He says a Katan 6 years or younger is automatically included with the heir of the mother. He does not have to have his own Eruv, and the mother doesn't have to make a special Eruv, a special set-aside food specially for him. He's automatically included in the Eruv of the mother. Taisa says that even though we just said that Ein Marvin al-Var mitzvah, so what's the mitzvah for the Katan? Taisa says one teretz that there's no alternative because he's attached to his mother, so it's a necessity for him. And alternatively, Taisa says it's also considered a mitzvah. It's a mitzvah of chinuch. It's a mitzvah of chinuch to be by his parent. So that is the halacha that he said, that Ravasi said that he is automatically included in the heir of the mother. A katan who needs his mother, he's included in the heir of the mother. But if he's not dependent on his mother, then he doesn't. He's not yotze with that heir. And we see that same kind of gather by the halach of sukkah as well. A katan that does not need his mother, is not dependent on mother, he has a chiv of sukkah. So what is katan sorach? How do you define sorach lima? How do we define that he doesn't need his mother anymore? He's not dependent. If he relieves himself and he doesn't need his mother to clean him, so he's able to use the bathroom and without the help of his mother. Rav Shimon ben Lakish Omar, he says, Kol shenir vein koira ima. He wakes up and he doesn't call for his mother. Ima sal kadaitach. Tomorrow you mean he doesn't call for his mother? What do you mean? Gedailam namid kara. They also, even older children call for their mother when they wake up. Ela ima, rather say, Kol shenir mishnas vein kara ima ima. That he doesn't continually call for his mother. So when he's at that age, when he doesn't stop, he calls his mother, and he's dependent on her. He keeps crying. He continues to cry for his mother. An older child calls for his mother, but then stops. But if he doesn't, then he's considered sorach lima v'kama. And what's the age? How do we find that? Kiba arba, kiba chamesh, 4 or 5. We say 4 or 5. That is the year. So therefore, we say that it's 4 or 5. That is clearly a contradiction to what Ravasi said by 6. So Omra Rav Shua Brei Ravidi, he said, Ki Kama Ravasi, he's talking about a different halacha. Ravasi is not talking about whether he can automatically be joined in with the heir of the mother. Yes, that is a younger age. That is a younger age, depending on the maturity of the child, 4 or 5. But when he said 6, he was referring to something else. Not that he's automatically included in the heir of the mother, but when there's 2 conflicting Eruvin, the mother's to one side and the father's to the other. For instance, the father to the north, the mother to the south. So we say that the question is, who is he included? Which Eruv is he included with? Now they both made an Eruv with him. So which one do we say is he included in? So we say in this case, we say that he would be more inclined to be with his mother. He's more dependent on his mother than his father, and therefore we say he would choose to be with his mother, and therefore it's the mother's tchum, the mother's eruv, that he would accept, and that's where his tchum is. It says that he can go with the heir of his mother until the 6th year. So that's mashma, that he's automatically included with the heir of the mother, and it says till the 6th year. Tiyufta Rav Yeshua bar Ravidi, Tiyufta is a kasha. We see not that way. We see even Kibar Sheish, he is included in the Eruv of the mother automatically. So that is a Tiyufta. How will we resolve Ravasi? That we'll see in the upcoming Amud.